For generations, we have stared up at the night sky, scanning the freezing void of the cosmos for signs of intelligent life. This reveals the massive scale of the James Webb Telescope, representing billions of dollars and decades of research that we've poured into deep space observation to find habitable exoplanets light years away. The sheer scale of the universe makes the existence of other life highly probable. Even top officials at space agencies publicly acknowledge the mathematical certainty that civilized life exists out there somewhere. But that distant search might be a distraction. In the last few years, the scientific consensus has started to fracture, driven by a wave of high-level intelligence leaking from within our own military. High-ranking intelligence officials and military insiders are now sitting before Congress, testifying under oath that craft of unknown origin are currently operating in our skies with total impunity. Our supposed cosmic loneliness is an illusion.
We haven't found evidence because we've been pointing our sensors in the completely wrong direction. Naval aviators repeatedly encounter what the Pentagon now categorizes as transmedium craft, vehicles that drop from the upper atmosphere straight into the ocean without slowing down or tearing apart on impact. Once they hit the water, they become unidentified submerged objects. Military sonar systems track them moving through the dense ocean at hundreds of miles per hour, ignoring friction and fluid dynamics. We possess highly detailed topographical maps of the Martian surface, yet Earth is 75% water, and 80% of that abyssal territory remains entirely unmapped. The flight data from these encounters reveals a distinct pattern. These craft do not appear to be visiting our oceans on temporary scouting missions. Their steep, high-speed trajectories down into the abyss suggest they are actively returning home. Modern disclosure points toward a localized reality, the mathematical probability that whatever is piloting these craft is actually indigenous to Earth's oceans. This brings us to the Cryptoterrestrial hypothesis. It proposes that an advanced, non-human intelligence has existed right alongside us for millennia, surviving in self-contained, high-pressure habitats at the very bottom of the sea. This image of a nuclear facility highlights a specific statistical correlation. Anomalous phenomena are heavily clustered around our power plants and weapons testing sites, monitoring our most destructive capabilities. Researchers suggest two likely origins for this intelligence. They could be an elder, parallel evolutionary branch of terrestrial life, or ancient, self-replicating artificial intelligence probes left behind millions of years ago to monitor the planet. The historical record supports this continuous observation. Across global mythologies, we find identical accounts of amphibious sages emerging from the water to teach early humans agriculture, writing, and mathematics. The Dogon tribe of Mali, for example, possesses centuries-old, highly specific traditions about the Nomo, amphibious beings who came from the water to guide human destiny. When modern military data aligns with these global traditions, it points toward a localized, long-term observation program by a maritime intelligence acting as planetary wardens. The implications of this shared planetary history cut into our own biology. The aquatic ape hypothesis argues that early primates were forced to forage in coastal environments, leading to unique human traits like hairlessness and subcutaneous fat. This visual model of human DNA highlights another biological mystery. There is a 14% genetic gap between modern humans and our closest primate ancestors. At some point in our prehistory, we experienced a sudden leap in cognitive capacity that evolutionary timelines struggle to explain. Some biologists and researchers suggest this leap was the result of directed genetic hybridization. The theory proposes that this deep-sea intelligence mixed their own genetic material with primitive hominids to accelerate our development. Today, bizarre anatomical remains exhibiting non-human features are being scrutinized by medical specialists and politicians as potential physical evidence of ancient genetic manipulation. If these genetic and physical anomalies hold up to scrutiny, they suggest the human story is not one of independent evolution, but a development occurring within a managed surface garden. If this sub-Aquarius intelligence has remained hidden for millions of years, why are their interactions with our military forces suddenly accelerating right now? Our industrial expansion is no longer confined to the continents. We are actively encroaching on the deep ocean, physically tearing into their domain. This image shows activists protesting deep-sea mining, a practice, along with intense military sonar arrays, that floods the water column with acoustic pollution and creates an existential threat to the marine environment. This graph charting human technological progress reveals the larger problem. A slow curve spanning thousands of years suddenly spikes upward, representing the impending AI singularity. Forecasts project this exponential spike crosses a critical threshold around 2027, a date aligning with intelligence predictions for mass disclosure. We are essentially knocking on their front door with a sledgehammer. This acceleration suggests we are currently witnessing the early stages of a forced disclosure event, triggered by an escalating threat to planetary security. Sociologists call the psychological fallout from this realization ontological fracturing. It describes the societal breakdown that happens when a species discovers its entire history, its religious narratives, and its apex status were all manufactured. Behind closed doors, a geopolitical scramble is already underway. Global superpowers are locked in a secretive arms race to secure and reverse engineer the transmedium technology these entities possess. To avoid total societal collapse, we have to dismantle decades of government suppression. The public needs the truth to prepare for our integration into a multi-intelligence world. The architects of our past and the masters of our future aren't waiting for us in the distant stars. Humanity must now face the reality of the abyss, where our elder siblings are finally stepping out of the dark to protect the shared resources of our planet.